So, after the debate between Kamala and Trump, one of the major claims that were very viral were that Haitian migrants are eating pets in Springfield, Ohio. Of course, the mainstream media immediately claimed it's fake, and if you try to search the story on Google, you'll get 3, 4, 5, 10 pages of every news outlet under the sun claiming it's debunked, it's false, etc. And I'm not saying it's true 100%. I am saying, however, that it seems to have originated organically from the ground up. Was it all based on a lie? I don't know. We'll have to wait to find out. But it seems obvious to me that the establishment is pro-immigration and they will not give this story any thought beyond saying it's bad for us, shut it down. So, it's about Springfield with a population of around 60,000 people, and they have a Haitian community growing to between 15,000 and 20,000 over the last 4 years, according to city officials. Now, 60,000 is the net residents. That means kids, the elderly, etc. If you have 15 to 20,000, mostly young men, military-aged men, coming in within 4 years, it's like a colony. It's like an army. There's no way that people on the streets would be able to feel safe. These are not a small amount of families coming in and integrating over time. We're dealing with essentially a change in the society you live in, a fundamental change. You will not feel safe or comfortable walking around when you have 15 to 20,000 military-aged men lounging in the streets. If you won't, you just won't. It doesn't matter the skin color. It doesn't matter where they're from. They're foreigners, and they are single men, which are the group with the highest single young men, right? Military-aged men. The highest rate of criminality, especially of the violent kind in the population, in any population. It doesn't matter where from. They need to be part of a greater fabric of society that will keep them in check. They are at the height of their physical strength. They have the most hormones, testosterone, etc. going on, and they don't have any program that they are part of. There's no family around them. There's no usually there's no jobs for illegal immigrants, especially when you have so many going into a small town at once. They don't have a hope for the future. They don't have social shame or anything of the sort. It's just 15 to 20,000 young military-aged men sitting there on the streets with nothing to do. The chance of criminality is obviously much higher than the rest of the population, and also just 15 to 20,000 foreigners that come from a third world country will always be suspicious, because third world countries don't have the same culture, they don't have the same safety, they have much higher crime rates, and humans in general throughout history have been wary of foreigners in general, and especially when they come in large amounts. They do not integrate, they don't learn your language, they create their own closed societies. It's essentially, like I said, a colony. And in terms of crime, yes, it's like an army. It's very, very problematic, no matter where they come from. It doesn't matter. In this case, it's Haiti. It could be anywhere, but especially third world countries. And it doesn't matter, again, if it's a poor, crime-ridden, corruption-ridden white nation, or the same for a non-white nation. I would treat them the exact same. The question is, are they foreign? Do they come from a third world country? That both of those are danger marks, obviously. Now, the story about the pets being eaten is because there was a city council meeting. Let's see if I can... Elon Musk is also repeating these claims. Yes. A local made similar accusations during a city commission meeting on August 27. A recording of the meeting shows a man saying, "Bro," they're in the park, grabbing up ducks by their necks and removing their heads and eating them. Now, the local authorities claim they have no information about any of this, but there have been a lot of stories. There was a video of a woman that was arrested for killing and eating a cat. Apparently, this is a black woman, and she's not from Haiti, and it's not from just now. There was also a video of a man walking with a killed duck or some sort of bird under his arm. Apparently, that's not from right now, and not from like a neighboring town or something of the sort. But regardless, there have been a lot of videos of locals claiming that they have seen it happen, or that one of the neighbors' pet is gone. This is a tweet in American from the same island as the Ohio Haitian illegal migrants. It's saying, the Haitian immigrants are indeed eating animals. Let me tell you something about these people. Not only are they harvesting cats for food, but also for witchcraft purposes, voodoo purposes. Understand this. If you don't want to take my word for it, go out there. Meet a Haitian, talk to them about it. This is not something they aren't proud of. It's their culture. They eat these animals, and they use the blood and bones of these animals for voodoo and witchcraft purposes. This is not a joke. The fact that they are here illegally, Kamala did say she gave them a temporary protection, over 100,000 of them. Here's the thing, for good luck purposes, they will harvest cats. They will use the blood and the bones of these cats. They consume these things because they believe it brings good luck and good juju. This is not a joke, it's a fact. This is their culture. This is what they believe. They will die on a hill on this belief. So this is someone from the same island. And this is Elon Musk tweeting a video of this woman who was saying the same thing, that they kill and eat cats and other animals for the cultural heritage, if you will. And this is a New York Post article about a more serious story about the immigrants, basically talking about how they overcrowd the social services, they create a lot of garbage in the streets and such. They create a lot of problems because the services and the infrastructure are overloaded because of the huge increase, like a third of the population suddenly appearing over 4 years. And this would happen regardless, even if these guys came from France or Britain. If you suddenly increase by 33% the population of any town, any village, any small place, or even a large city, doesn't matter, the infrastructure will not be able to keep up. The social services will not be able to keep up, and yes, it will cause problems. It will cause a rift between the locals, who have to deal with a worsening quality of life, and the newly arrived. There is no good way to do mass migration. Migration has to be slow, it has to be gradual, and hopefully it will be people who have been vetted to be a positive for the community they go into, that are getting there legally with the acceptance of the locals. You have to have the permission of the house owner to enter. You have to have the permission of the people of the country to immigrate there. It's the most basic thing ever. And open borders makes no sense. You have to have permission to enter. You have to be a net positive, to be vetted, to not be a criminal of any sort, to not be a drain on the local services that you did not put money into, your parents did not put money into. Just coming in there with, let's say, a serious health problem and expecting the locals to take care of you is obviously nonsense. It makes no it's not just. And why would they do that? Why would they put up with you? I suppose because the leadership is corrupt and betraying them. And perhaps I'll make a video about that. There have been many philosophers throughout history talking about how a tyrant prefers foreigners over the local populations, because they know that the foreigner that wants to come in is hoping for a better life. That's why they are coming in. And he will promise it to them at the expense of the locals in return for their loyalty. Because to a tyrant, the greatest danger is the indigenous population, is his own citizens, because they are the only ones with the power to topple him. They are the ones with the interest to topple him, because he is tyrannizing them. So I definitely think we are seeing the importation of a client class for their loyalty, and as a move against the locals all over the world. It doesn't matter which country you are in, and I think that's what we're definitely seeing. immigration can be a good thing. It can be a great thing if you import only people who are a benefit to your society in a measured rate, and especially you don't bring many people from the same place at the same time. You make sure that the places the immigration comes from are varied so that they don't have the ability to flock together and create essentially a colony, a separate entity on your soil. Instead, there has to be a diversity between these immigrants so that the only collective identity they have in your country is as citizens of your country. So their loyalty is not torn between their birth group, their birth culture, and your country, your culture. Think about it. I'm Jewish. If I lived in a Western country or a third world country, it doesn't matter, where there were, let's say, 10% Jews, I would feel my loyalty to the collective of 10% Jews that are trying to advance our interests in that country. On the other hand, if it was, let's say, 10% foreigners, but from all over the world, and 90% locals, I would only have the identity of a member of this country. I wouldn't have a Jewish collective inside that country trying to advance personal interests. And you could see it with not specifically people of color. You could see it even with, let's say, how do I put it? Any group in Britain, specifically because I watch Lotus Eaters. You can find them on YouTube. I like quite a bit of what they're saying. They're talking about also not just black people or Muslims or anything of the sort. Even Rishi Sunak is from India, so he advances the interests of people from his own culture to enter the country. He gives them more quotas, he gives them more funding, etc. He gives them better terms at the expense of the locals. And if you had, it's not an attack on Indians at all. If you had anyone from any other group in power there, you would naturally expect, because it's also what their own group would expect of them. There is a certain expectation, you're one of us, so give us preferential treatment. That's why I don't think it's a good idea for anyone who's not from the ethnicity of the majority to become the leader of the country. I very much don't think it's a good idea. I wouldn't want to have someone who's not Jewish to be the Prime Minister of Israel. And at the same token, I am surprised that anyone would accept a Prime Minister or President that is not a local, that is not indigenous in any other country. I honestly oppose the idea. And you might say, well, Barack Obama was president in America. I think Barack Obama was a terrible president, but not necessarily because he's black. Blacks have been a part of America for how long now? There are blacks that are indigenous to America that have lived there and their ancestors lived there for how long now? Basically since the founding almost. So I don't think America is quite the same. But supposing somebody came, let's say, that is an immigrant, or I know that if you're not a citizen you can't become president, but let's say the descendant, one generation after immigration to the United States, would they serve the interests of the country or of the birth culture? I would be suspicious as a local, honestly. Call me nationalist or racist if you will, but I think it would be the same if you went to China and told them, hey, there's somebody that immigrated from France, or their son or daughter is now going to be your president. What would they say? If you went to Africa, any country there, if you went to the Middle East, any country there, would they accept it? No, they would never accept it. Are you saying that basically everywhere outside the West is racist and nationalist because they would never accept it? Go ask them. Go next time you're on vacation, or when you're talking over the internet with anyone from any of these countries, South America, it doesn't matter where. Tell them, hey, would you accept a Western immigrant moving into your country and then their son or daughter becoming your leader, your president, or your prime minister? They would say no. They would obviously say no. This is common sense all over the world except the West, and it used to be common sense in the West like 40 years ago. But somehow, all other humans, for the remainder of human existence, are all wrong and racist, and only we in the West, in the last like 20 years, have discovered the ultimate truth that ethnicity doesn't matter, that your connection to the land doesn't matter, that your religion doesn't matter. None of these identities cause a conflict of interest at all. What matters is you've touched the magic soil of this country, now you're one of us. Your loyalty is only exclusively to us. You've completely forgotten all other groups. Yeah, I somehow doubt it. Anyway, that was enough for me. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.